Hey leavers, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the fear of being unattractive. This is kind of like a heavy topic, so like trigger warning. That's so cringy, I don't want to put that. But I want to talk about like having a good body and like fitness and stuff like that, because I think that's quite a personal topic and I think it's a good topic to address on a podcast. So obviously we have like what is having a good body and like the difference between being attractive and being like healthy, because obviously there's female beauty standards, and I'm sure I can't personally say, but I know there are beauty standards for men as well, but women, I think that is more personal to me, so I want to address that more. And I'm not saying that men's mental health is not valid, like I'm not saying that at all, like I think it is valid. So I don't want to, be negative on that point, but I do think that women have to kind of conform to her beauty standards. They don't have to, but I think it's socially acceptable to, and I don't think that's good personally, because definitely through the influence of like social media and everything, it definitely has an impact on how people like can live. And I know that eating disorders and stuff like that, they're like body image issues or on the rise, and I think we need to like put a more open viewpoint onto what is a healthy body and what is like a conventionally attractive body, because everyone's beautiful in their own ways. Like, argue against me all you want, but I genuinely think everyone has their flaws, but everyone is also attractive in their own way. But being like I think when beauty standards get to a point where people are harming their own bodies to create a superficial standard for themselves, it's not healthy. And especially like with people such as Kim K and the Kardashians, they're almost on a rise of like, it's kind of like they're putting out standards for women and young girls which are highly unachievable, and they have gone to crazy lengths to get the body that they have now, and they look completely different. Like, I know there's definitely, you see it all over social media, but like saying, oh, the Kardashians shouldn't have had plastic surgery, like they were beautiful the way they were, and like genuinely, yeah, they were beautiful the way they were. And honestly, it's just like the fact that they felt like they needed to change themselves to fit into a beauty standard that realistically is going to change in the next 3 years. And I think that's very important to address. Like, just think, in 2020, I think it was a lot, like, the beauty standards and just, like, especially, like, fashion and everything, it's changed. And you can see from decade to decade, I don't know if, like, you guys have seen those videos on, like, TikTok and stuff, where, they do, like, makeup looks from each freaking decade, and, those makeup looks are completely different to how we are now, like how people look now, or what the beauty standard is now, because there's also the how everyone's supposed to do their makeup, how it's supposed to look, how you're supposed to look, what's considered beautiful, what's considered not. And I think, I don't know, when, like I said before, when people go to the extent of changing their bodies permanently in order to reach somewhere that is unhealthy, but it's like beneficial to beauty standards. I feel like that is bad, and how social media and everything has impacted that. I sound like a freaking parent right now, but I think it's genuinely important that people need to see that we are not, like, social media is affecting kids' lives. And I do think that the law that Australia put in, where you're not allowed social media if you're under 16, I genuinely think that is a good law. And I don't know how they're fact checking this, or like how they know if you have social media or not, because like I'm not Australian, but because in Australia you're not allowed social media if you're under 16. I think when you're over 16 it gives you more of a demographic outlook on how social media isn't real, and it highlights the best parts of your life, and it doesn't highlight the negatives. And I don't think people post about the negatives because they want to show off the best parts of their life. That's why on Instagram you have Instagram highlights, you know? And you know, you don't see influencers, you know, talking about how, oh, I've had a bad day, this is how it went. You know, you see, oh, today's how my day went, like, I went to get a matcha from Starbucks. It's like that, you know? And I genuinely think that people need to appreciate more that it's not it and I think it took me personally a very long time to understand that social media wasn't, you know, it wasn't all that. And people do struggle and they choose not to show it because they don't want to show it to the public, and that's completely okay. And, you know, but I think when influencers encourage people to become unhealthy to get a certain beauty standard, it's not on. It's just not a good thing to do, is it? Because realistically, we don't want teenagers getting into the state where they're in hospital because of how much they've damaged their own body. Like, your body is literally your holy temple. You're supposed to treat it like a palace. And yeah, I think your body is like the most valuable thing in your life because it keeps you alive. And it took me such a long time to realise that, and I think that when you're able to see that and appreciate that yourself, then you're finally going to be able to be happy in your own skin. I think that's important. And there is a difference. Like, the opposite of fat is not fit. Because, like, or the opposite of fit is not fat, as my dad used to say. Like, you can be, like, you know, it's the opposite of fit is unfit. Your fitness level is different to your body fat level, and I think I've learned so much more about that since I've started doing more exercise myself. And I think that looking after your body is such an important thing to do, because then you're able to do other things that don't include harming yourself, you know? And doing things for your well-being, because your mental health is as important as your physical health. Like, I will repeat the things that they tell us in school because I genuinely think that they're important. And I genuinely think that people need to understand that your body is so important, and we have all these biological processes for a reason, and it's to keep us alive. And I just think it's so important that we have to understand that these beauty standards, they're unrealistic. Like, you may have a certain body type that can't, won't allow you to have an hourglass waist or big boobs and a big bum but be totally skinny at the same time. It's unrealistic, and that is an important thing to factor in. You need to be able to work up muscle to be strong. You're not just strong naturally. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say, really. There is a difference between being unfit and fat, and I think we, as a society, we need to learn that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little rant. This one's kind of short. Sorry, I didn't know what to post for a few days, and I was just thinking about this idea. So let me know what you guys think. Okay, see you on the